welcome to Slogan's Rock and Metal Extravaganza. We are here today to talk about Cinderella's second album, Long Cold Winter, and Dokken's album, Under Lock and Key. So joining us today, we have very special guests, Danny Elkanah, Tim's Vinyl Confessions, and as always, Logan. And so we're gonna let Danny. We got to do it a bit differently today. Danny's gonna go first because we don't have too much time, so he's gonna do both albums, and then after we're gonna just go to Cinderella, the three of us, and then go back to Dokken. So
Okay.
Danny, you want to talk about Cinderella first? And
guys, really?
what was that?
I said you're just gonna throw me under the bus like that, guys.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to take up too much, right? We might go on for 2 hours, so I don't want to.
2 minutes each album.
2 minutes each album, yeah.
So where do we want it? You want me to start with the first track? Is that
yeah? Just go track by track on the
right.
Cinderella.
Well, excuse me for looking at some notes.
Yep, that's fine.
As you know, I wasn't really listening that much. Cinderella is a new band for me, and my overall view. I'll give you an overall view. I really like the act a lot. Whoever produced them, I thought the production was really good. The songs were good. I mean, I can see why they sold 15 million albums. If I was an A&R guy, I would have signed them immediately. They're a great band. Not a good band, a great band. First track was what? Bad Seamstress, right?
Bad Seamstress Blues and Falling Apart at the Seams. Yeah, it's like a two-part.
Well, we were talking a little bit about the hard rock and I'm not a big fan of slide guitar in hard rock. I'm a guitar player, and it just slide guitars for blues for me. So the first song I wasn't a big fan of because of the slide guitar, but that's pretty much the slide guitar was a no for me. But still, the sound was still good. I like the drum sound. I love the singer. I like the guitar player. I mean, if we go down the list, you'll see that I like the guitar player. And so the next song, Gypsy Road, man, that is a great song. I love that song. Absolutely loved it. I love the energy. I love the melody. The chorus was really good. It was well written. Let's see. If that wasn't a hit, okay, I was going to say sure as hell should have been. That's a great song. Very well done. There's everything good to say about it. Nothing bad. Hope you don't mind if I say something, because say something negative. It's just my opinion.
What's your opinion, right? You're not taking shots at the band saying these guys suck. Yeah.
We all know what opinions are.
Yeah,
right? So, yeah. And my opinion means nothing. Don't know what you got till it's gone. It was a ballady, and for me in rock, especially hard rock, the bands that can pull this off have singers that can pull it off. I'm not a fan of the kind of soft music with the gruff,
No.
Rod Stewart or somebody like that, yes, because but it sounded very forced to me. So I wasn't a big fan of the song that much. Let's see. Claus Mina, Scorpions, they have nice ballads, or a Journey, which I would consider more of a pop rock band. Definitely can do ballads really well. This one didn't hit me. So don't know what you got till it's gone. Let's see. The Last Mile. Damn. I love this song.
Damn, indeed.
Love. I can't say enough about it. It had the 12-string intro, and that guy really got a great guitar sound. I mean, the 12-string sounded Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Um, and the opening rocks. They had great vocal harmonies. Uh, and a general really good feel. We talked about feel in my interview. If it doesn't have feel, you got nothing. It had just a great feel. The breakdown in the middle was awesome, and I love the way the song was written. It's a very, very well done song, for, in my opinion. I loved it, and all around, I really dig the guys. I love them. They're a great band. Um, Second Wind was a great rocking song. This is a song for driving your car fast. On your way to Vegas, you put the pedal down to the floor and just have the windows down. Is a great driving song. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Cold Long Winter. If I'm going to read my notes exactly. If I had to listen to this track in the wintertime, it would be a long winter. I wasn't a fan. I'm sorry.
No,
It goes
you don't
back.
like the blues and the rough vocal, right? The
Yeah, it
slow
goes
stuff
back
and
to
the
that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Maybe, yeah, I'm sure other people love it. It's just not for me. Um, if you don't like it, that was the name
yep.
of it. Man, that track had a lot of energy. Uh, the intro was a little reminiscent of Highway Star, the chording structure. I'm glad Tim
Wow.
Shakin said yes. It's just it was reminiscent of it, and I really like the interplay with the guitar and the vocals. Um, it was beautiful. I love the interplay. Um, the guitar parts were great. I wrote in my notes. I absolutely loved it. It reminds me a little bit of Aerosmith. So I'm coming home. Oh my, we're back to a ballady.
It's funny you say that because that and the other ballad were the two biggest hits.
Guys from Cinderella, if you ever hear my interview, just disregard me because I'm just not a fan of this gentleman's voice with ballads. It's not for me. Fire and Ice. I mentioned to you prior to the show. Uh, the singer sounds a lot like Mark Bowles. I think he sang on Yngwie's third album. Man, he sounds great, powerful, really good, and I really like the tune a lot. Um, Take Me Back. Uh, yeah, once again we got the slide guitar. I wrote it's a bit strange listening to a '80s band with high pitched vocals and a slide guitar. Uh, Slide guitar, basically, for me, for my opinion and my taste, belongs to like bands like ZZ Top or Joe Bonamassa, or it's a blues. It's for blues. Of course, Richie Blackmore did use slide a lot, and but he played like harmonic minor type riffs, which are kind of mystic and mysterious sounding, and I just not for me. And that's I finished the album. Overall, I just like to say that they were. I was really surprised how good they were. I'm sure that they were great in concert. I'm sure from listening, especially the high energy songs. I can see the people jumping up and down, and yeah, it must have been really good. And I'm sorry I missed them. They're a great band. I really like them a lot.
Yeah. How would you rate the album if you were to out of 10? How would you?
I would give that a good strong 8.5 or eight and
Oh,
three quarters. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. It's a great album. It's a great band. I just wasn't a fan of the bluesy guitar. I could, kind of go with a little bit on like a faster track when it broke down into the blues and with his particular voice. He has a really rocking voice. Those two things didn't kind of gel with me, but great band. I really loved them. Yeah.
Great. So then
Mhm.
you want
Right.
to get into Under Lock and Key.
Me?
Yep.
You want me to go first?
Yep.
Well,
Put you on the spot, and you can tell your story again of how
okay.
you all could have ended up in
Yeah,
Dokken or whatever.
I'll tell that story. Years ago, when in my last professional band, Excalibur, uh, I had left it and come to San Diego, and was was a little bit yeah, kind of heartbroken and done with the music industry. I had been, disappointed enough and decided to, go into the business world. And I got a call from the drummer, Bob. That was probably about a year later. And Bob said, "Guess who's playing with me?" And he sent me some tapes too. But guess who's playing with me right now? I said, "Who?" He said, George Lynch. I said, "Oh, no shit, really?" He said, "Yeah." And so I that meant that George wasn't in Dokken then. And he said, "Do you want to play with Dokken?" He said, I'll send the stuff over to Don." I said, "No, dude. I mean, I don't think I'm making good money right now. I'm just making about 200K a year." And I said, "No, I mean, I don't think they're going to pay a sideman 200K a year." And I said, "No, that's not. Uh-uh." So that that was one little rub with Dokken. The other one's a lot even better, I think. Years later, 2006, yeah, I had a business partner in my music publishing company, and he knew George well, and he knew Jeff even better. And I had a large Pro Tool rig, nice studio, and Jeff had something very close to it, but he didn't have. At the time, they used, for some reason, because the hard drives couldn't hold all the information, they used a tape backup machine. And all this binary information of the entire session, the sound files, the total recall for all the faders and whatnot, it was all downloaded onto tape in binary information. And so Jeff would send me uh, his studio sessions, and I would back them up on my rig and then send them back. And we ended up licensing a couple of his albums for my publishing company, and there were several of them that got picked up by several different shows. And but the one I remember the most was it was the comedy of the year called "Without a Paddle," and we got a Jeff tune in that. So that was my happy thing with
Yeah.
Doc. Yeah, and by the way, a lot of people don't know, and I want to just say about the, in my opinion, probably even though George is one of my very favorite guitar players, I love his feel, I love his sound, especially in the Dokken days. I mean, he got progressively better and better and better and better. But it sounds like his tone kind of sounds like he left his guitar out in the rain and his strings got rusty. And they just have an extra little bit of scream to him that I have always loved, and not to mention his playability and his feel, which is incredible. He's a great player. Everybody knows he's a great player. Yeah, but the unsung hero for me of the band is Jeff Pilson. Jeff, by far, is also a great bass player, but a lot of people don't know he's a great lead singer. He's a great lead singer, and he's a great songwriter. And he's, for me, he's the unsung hero of Dokken. I I really admire Jeff. He's a great human being. He's a nice guy. I think George is too. Um, but my hat's off to Jeff. Totally. Yeah.
Nice.
So All right, so we're going to get into Dokken a little bit. Unchain the Night. Oh my God. You got dan, 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 dan. What a line, man. What a line. I mean, just coming right out of the gate. That is so cool. That is a beautiful rock line on guitar. Don's voice is on this track is epic. I mean, he's right there, very similar to Klaus Meine, which I think he did some backup vocals with Dieter Dirks, right?
On the Blackout album, because Klaus had heard his voice, so Don had a similar enough voice. So I think, yeah, they used him for a guide vocal.
There you go. That's so. Uh, it's this song's kind of got Don's sweet spot. You know, every vocalist has a key that they sound the best. And even guitars, some guitars sound better in some keys than others. They have a sweet spot. This is Don's sweet spot, man, and I love his vocal on this track. Absolutely love it. There can't be enough said about George's guitar playing. His solo is, at the time, is out of this world. It was really, really, really good. So yeah, that was a big. That's a epic song, an epic song for rock and roll, absolutely, in my opinion. The Hunter, I wasn't a big fan of the Hunter. Once again, though, every song on this, every song on the album, George is playing his ass off. So, you know, I listened to it in the day because of George. I love George's playing. Let's see, In My Dreams. Oh God, George pulls off in the solo. Besides the vocals being great, George pulls off. He takes a little tiny bit of classical and puts it into a solo, right out of Bach's Fugue in D minor, which is a famous song. I mean, you look it up and listen to it, and maybe you'll catch that part. You just use a little excerpt, but love it, and it fits so well. Just another one of George's blistering solos. Slipping Away. It almost worked for me. I'm not a big.
I'm with you on this. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, he has the voice for that.
Yeah.
He was, you know, had a gentle voice, and he sang it well. Yeah, I guess, you know, it works, but not like the other songs work for me. The other songs flip my switch. That song doesn't flip my switch that much. Let's see. Oh, Lightning Strikes Again. Oh God. Another killer song, another killer intro by George. You know, just ripping ass on the guitar. This is the song I wrote in my notes. This is a song you turn all the way up and put your foot to the floor as you're driving to Vegas. You know, with the windows rolled all the way down. Those guys could rock, and all of them were good. I mean, every one of the drummer. What's his name? Mick
McBrown.
Mick
Brown.
Mick Brown, great drummer, got a great sound, an awesome sound. Jeff is a great bass player. George is an MF guitar player, and you got Don Dokken. Can I say MF?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just trying to be explicatory because I'm excited about the album. I love the album, and Don is an incredible singer. In these days, he was amazing. So that's my view or review of the album.
Nice. What about there's more songs? You got the other songs.
Pardon, are there other songs?
Yeah, the other 5.
Oh, he just got the 4-song version.
Oh,
you did side 1 actually.
I listened to the EP.
Yeah. This is just called Under Lock.
Yeah.
The key is missing.
Yeah.
No key.
Yeah, that's great, Tim. It's Not Love. Yeah, It's Not Love. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't love that song. I don't know.
No, it's a good mid-tempo song.
It's all right.
I put in here it doesn't drag. George does some great. Yeah, George does do some great stuff on that. George does great stuff on all of it. I mean, I'm going to brag a lot about George because George is, like I
You're
said,
a guitar player, right? So
yeah, an MF guitar player. Jaded Heart. Let's see. Once again, ballads. I'm not. I said I'm not a fan of hard rock ballads, but this is a good one. Beautiful song, and George does a very tasteful solo, which takes you on a small journey. I so hey, we got a ballad that I like. Ballads are hard for rock bands. I mean, it's not easy with a
yeah,
rock singer, and his he
he's got a voice for it though.
yeah he has a sensitive voice, and he knows how to not he knows when to be soft and when to be when to put his balls behind it. So that was basically my take on the song. I like the song very much. Don't Lie to Me. Oh shit. Another George's guitar line is really good in this. Uh, George's intro with harmonics harmonies. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. It's almost reminiscent of Boston a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Kind of in a major key. Uh, really, really great song. Good concert song. Uh, again, I put in here George takes a little bit of Bach's fugue in D minor in the solo. Actually, a little more than he did in the other one. And we all did that. All of us did that. Would steal from classical and throw in a little bit. George was definitely did it too, and did it well. Will the Sun Rise? Beautifully written song. The vocal harmonies are exceptional. This was almost a ballad, but I loved it. So I give him another big point for that, because I'm not much of a ballad guy. Till the Living End. Jeez. Another great fast tune. Love it. George really tears this one up during the solo. So, I mean, yeah, you got Jeff, who's I said is the most, for me, one the most talented guy in the band, and you got Nick, who's an amazing drummer. You got Jeff, who's George,
George.
one of the God, he's probably one of my favorite guitar players ever, really. And Don's voice, I mean, what a band. And yeah, George, though, he kills it in every song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he kills it in every song. So that's kind of my take on that. Now,
Very underrated band.
extremely, yeah,
Like they
extremely.
did sell well, but like still, they're not a name that everyone knows as much as they should.
Well, they weren't as commercial as Cinderella.
No.
Cinderella also really had the look. It was a nice looking package, Cinderella. That's why
Yeah.
I said if I was an A&R guy, I would hire them. I would sign them in a moment.
Are you saying these guys aren't good looking, Danny?
They're good.
Come on.
They're great looking. They're all handsome dudes. Yeah, absolutely. But that's not the same look as Cinderella.
No.
No,
Yeah.
it's not at all.
When you look at Cinderella, you go, "Oh man, they're stars."
Yeah.
When I look at that album cover, I say, "Oh, all these guys, have their own. They're rockers, but it doesn't have the same look as Cinderella. I really don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm saying. Cinderella had the look, man. I bet you had the girlies too.
A bit more commercial, right? I guess you could say more.
They were much more a little dumbed down, musically speaking, technically speaking. I mean, guitar players know George Lynch, and I don't know their bass player. I doubt can can match up to Jeff,
Yeah.
technically speaking. So I mean, Mick is an amazing drummer. Although their drummer's really good, Cinderella. I don't know who he is, but he's good.
Well,
And,
well,
that's yeah. We'll get into that.
We'll get to Tim for that now.
yeah. And, did you say Cozy Powell?
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, no wonder.
Session drummer.
That's one of my favorite drummers ever. I mean, it would be Bonham and then Powell. Love them. So that's my take on it, bro.
So how would you give that? How would you rate that one?
I'd give that a 9.5.
Nice.
No, my 9.7.
Nice,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Am I any close to you guys? Let's find out.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So we'll move on over to Tim.
So we doing Cinderella first?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Well, it's funny. Like, and I was really excited about this because in both of these cases, these are my favorite albums by both of these bands.
Okay. There you
So
go.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, Cinderella, I mean, yeah, when they first came out, if you look at the cover of Night Songs, total glam. And by this time, they started to pare it down a little bit. They never sounded glam. They always were. Night Songs was a heavy album. And Andy Johns produced the first two albums. So, yeah, the really good. Andy Johns might have been, those Cinderella albums were the first big albums I think he'd produced in quite a while, because obviously he worked with Led Zeppelin, he worked with the Stones, so yeah, he was a veteran, but somehow he ended up producing a lot of younger bands, and those first two Cinderella albums I think both sound good. I think this one sounds a little bit less I don't know, cavernous maybe. I love both of the albums, Night Songs and Long Cold Winter, but Long Cold Winter to me has a little bit more clarity in it. So this is the vinyl copy. I didn't get this originally. I bought cassettes back in the day, but the logo's embossed. I like the simplicity of this.
It's simple.
It doesn't have to. And I think it was a reaction. I think it was Tom Kiefer, the singer. And if I'm going to make a guess, I'm going to guess Tom plays most of the guitars on the albums, and Jeff LaBarre just backs him up live. I think Tom's kind of a one-man band. He plays guitar, he plays piano, he sings, he produces. He's a talented musician. So. Yeah. And then, the back, they've got, again, black and white photo. So it's not totally glammed out. It's not purple like the first album was, except for the logo. So, Tom Kiefer had a lot of blues in him. He had a lot of, he had a lot of Stones. He had a lot of Nazareth, Aerosmith, obviously. And, he carried that into Cinderella. This is a much bluesier album than Night Songs, and it was the beginning of a trend that lasted, I'd say, for the next 3 years, where tons of albums would come out and they'd have these little slidey acoustic intros at the beginnings of the songs. Like, there's a band, sure you guys have heard of them because you guys are way up on stuff. They were never big. They're a band called Tattoo Rodeo.
Okay.
Their first album, I think almost every other song starts with
I have that on CD actually.
There's an acoustic intro to almost every song. It's kind of amusing, but yeah. So Bad Seamstress Blues / Falling Apart at the Seams. I think it's a really good opener. I mean, Tom Kiefer sings like he's been gargling with razor blades, but yet he does it with melody. He's like an uber melodic version of Brian Johnson. I mean, he could just deliver those melodies. It's no wonder he shredded his vocal cords on more than one occasion. Just the way that. Because it's it's probably a very incorrect way of singing, but boy, does it sound cool. Yeah, I really like that first one. But yeah, that's Cozy Powell playing on it. I don't know. Their drummer is Fred Coury, and Fred did not play on the first album. He did not play on the second album, and he didn't play on the fourth album. I think he played on Heartbreak Station. He's always played with them live, and I actually saw them with Dokken. I'll get into that. Much later, and he's a good drummer, but I've always heard it said that playing in the studio and playing live are two different things. And for some reason, I'm trying to think of the drummer's name that played on the first album. I think his name was Jody Cortez.
Yeah.
And Kenny Aronoff actually played on Still Climbing album.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cozy Powell plays on this, the late Cozy Powell. I think it sounds great. It's got that, Cozy's got that 4 on the floor, much like on Whitesnake, slide it in. It says, like it's not reinventing the wheel, but it's got that bottom
Yep.
heavy foot. Yeah. And Gypsy Road. Yeah. Gypsy Road was the first single from this album. Wasn't a huge hit. I think it peaked at 51, but the video was very popular and it's a well-known song. I still hear it on rock radio today and it still sounds good. One thing that I noticed about the song, the riff of the song, it's got this bendy riff to it. It reminds me, it sounds to me like it borrows a little tiny bit from one of my favorite Aerosmith songs ever, which is No Surprise, from the Night in the Ruts album. Because that's got a guitar line where it goes da-da-down, down, 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 down. Gypsy Road is bound, 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 like he just flipped the timing around. Perfect. It's just perfect. It's a fun, it's anthemic. Yeah, total classic. Now, I love talking to people because we all hear stuff different. Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone was one of my favorite ballads of all time. I think it's an absolutely beautiful song. Yes, I will agree with Danny that there is quite a juxtaposition between the delicate piano music and then again the razor blades of Tom Kiefer. But I think he sings his heart out on this. Man, just love this song. This was their second highest charting single. Nobody's Fool, another one of my favorite ballads from Night Songs, peaked at 13. This song peaked at 14. And that's Tom playing the piano. I mean, it's a beautiful piano part. The solo is just perfect. Just note perfect. And love the extended coda as it fades out. I've got no problem at all with it. This is the single to this. And it basically, it's like the record, right? But what I forgot when I dug this out for this show, this is a Canadian single. This folds out into a big picture of the guys.
That's cool.
Nice.
And on the other side, of course, it's got, it's got like a timeline of the band up to this point, and it's advertising the two albums and
Wow.
Night Songs, the video, which is a VHS tape that I used to have.
Wow.
So now I can get this thing back together. Anyway, yeah. I think as 80s power ballads go, this one's one of the best. But the next song is probably my favorite Cinderella song, and that's The Last Mile. Because that was the song I remember. I didn't care. It took me a while to adjust to Tom's voice because it's not a pleasant voice. It's at first listen, it's very abrasive. But so I kind of liked the songs, but I didn't have any of their albums. But when this song came out, this was the third single from the album. And when this came out and I heard it on the radio, I'm like, that's it. I got to buy this album. So this is where I started with Cinderella. It was a minor hit. It peaked at number 36. The video is just one of those. It's a collage of it's an on the road video. It's live clips. It's backstage stuff. But it's a great, great song. Second Wind is really good, really good. And what's kind of neat about it is that I like how it has that sort of coda at the end where it goes into another part. And it just goes on. It fades until the end. Like Tom does some vocal ad libs, but it just kind of goes on. And I almost hear some extra percussion stuff on it, which is not something that was typical for.
Denny Carmassi's the drummer on that song, though.
That makes sense.
From Montrose. He's playing the drums on that one, not Cozy, but the rest is Cozy.
That makes total sense. Yeah. So he would have been in Heart at that time. But yeah. Denny Carmassi, there's another John Bonham disciple.
Yep.
Because I just think of Rock Candy.
Yep.
From Montrose.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. So then we have the title song. Yeah. It's not my favorite on the album, but it's Tom. Tom always wanted to bring a little bit of blues into, this music. And there were a lot of these bands that did, and it didn't come off as sincere. But when Tom does it, for some reason, I buy it. And, but somebody once mentioned to me that the beginning of Long Cold Winter sounds like it could have been the theme from a cop show, like a TV show, like a gritty cop show, as the credits go. If you don't like it, great, great heavy rock song. The Eric Brittingham, the bass player, what you hear at the beginning of that song, he's playing Tom Peterson's 8-string bass. Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick, he borrowed the bass for the
Really?
intro to that song. That's why it's got such a strange. It doesn't really sound like a bass, but it's
That
Tom
is
Peterson's
bass, okay.
8-string bass. There is some Aerosmith in that. The riff, like it's got that attitude. You could, rocks, toys in the attic. That
Exactly.
Next up, we have what was the final single from the album. Well, technically, the final single from the album was a reissue of Gypsy Road, because after they'd had a few top 40 singles, they put it out again. It didn't chart, but so then we have Coming Home, which is a more laid back acoustic song. I don't know if I'd call it a ballad or not. I do really like it. It kind of paved the way for Heartbreak Station, I think, because it's much more. It's not hard rock at all, but I think it's a good palate cleanser for side 2. It's a change of pace without slowing everything down. Then Fire and Ice, which would not surprise me to find, and I don't know this, maybe someone knows this, but it would not surprise me to find out that Fire and Ice was a leftover from Night Song. It's probably the heaviest song on the album. It sounds like most of the songs on Long Cold Winter I don't think would work on Night Songs, but Fire and Ice sounds like I could hear it.
Yeah.
But and then the final song, Take Me Back. I mean, you can't knock it out of the park every time. It's okay. It's okay. It sounds like the 11th track on an album and they had to get it done. It's okay. But it's not my favorite. But it's okay. But yeah, Long Cold Winter. I mean, I've been listening to this album since I was 14, and I'm 50 now, so do the math. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. I love
it. Wow. Nice. So, Logan, you want to get into Cinderella?
Nice.
Is it working all right?
Oh, there you go.
Kind of freezing up.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Yeah, see, Tim jinxed it because he said he was going to be the one. I was the one.
Yeah.
So I want to get into the charts a little bit. The album reached number 10 on the U.S. Billboard 200. It's certified 2 times platinum in Canada and 3 times platinum in the U.S. Like Tim said, the album's 4 singles all charted on the Billboard Hot 100. And I mentioned about the drummers, the difference. Cozy Powell's on all the tracks besides Second Wind. But I'll get into the tracks. Bad Seamstress Blues, Falling Apart at the Seams. Now I have a completely different perspective from Danny and maybe a little bit of Tim, I guess. This is just one of my favorite introductions on a hard rock album of the 80s. Tom plays that gritty slide guitar blues to open the song and album off with some harmonica in the background, kind of giving off a playing on your front porch kind of vibe. But then those changes, then that quarter note, on the kick drum kick in, and band just fires off, man. The blues riff becomes electric, and the band keeps a solid mid-tempo pace with Tom delivering a great gritty vocal. I love the pre-chorus into the chorus of this song. Backing vocals really adding to it. And about 4 minutes in, we get a nice bluesy solo, which I read Jeff LaBar did that solo. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it's just, and I'd say it's my favorite Cinderella song. So yeah.
Well, Danny, right off the bat, this is Logan's favorite Cinderella song.
Yeah. So we got some differing opinions.
Absolutely.
You like what you like, man.
Yep, that's it.
That's right. That's right.
And we get into Gypsy Road. One of the singles off the album. Song starts right out the bat with a very catchy blues riff in B, I think, with a lot of bending, which goes into a nicely structured blues chug of the verses. Tom singing a song about wandering the open road. Song deserved to be a hit with just a great, well-rounded chorus that will get stuck in your head, I believe.
Yep.
I also like how they take that dynamic shift from Shake Me kind of from the first album. Kind of has that breakdown section. It's kind of the same way in this song. Yeah, just a great, well-deserved hit from the band, I'd say. Then we get to the ballad, which the title pretty much speaks for itself on this one. Starts with great piano work, and every word Tom sings in this tune just feels so real, and you know, it just feels like he was in that type of situation, just like Nobody's Fool was. I think he had a knack for writing both power ballads and great rockers, and he shows off his piano skills for I think the one and only time in the catalog here. I don't think there's piano. There might be some piano on Heartbreak Station. I can't remember.
I think Coming Home. Yeah, on the album.
Yeah. And I like the music video of this song too. It's shot at Mono Lake in California. They get some cool atmospheric shots of that place, like sundown almost, or sunset. They're singing, or sunrise. I can't remember. But yeah, it's just another song with a chorus that'll kind of be immortalized in the '80s rock to me.
Nice,
cool tune. Then we get to Last Mile, which would probably be my second favorite. I love this song. Like Danny was talking about the 12-string acoustic intro, man. Oh,
beautiful.
Then it goes into that riff. I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Really like the songwriting of this track too, and Danny mentioned that a little bit too. Yep. Tom starts the line in the chorus, and then the band kind of finishes it every time. I thought that was a unique way to songwrite for this tune. Do a nice breakdown of this tune as well into the solo section.
Mm-hmm.
Just a great feel-good anthemic rock tune. Yep. And then we get the Second Wind, which I said this song kicks off with the most familiar song or sound for a rock band with that plane, because they're always on the road, man. Get a great chugging riff. I think it's on A, I believe, with a cool chord at the end of each bar. I think Dan, you might be able to tell. I don't know. He goes high up for that. I don't know what it might be, like a suspended chord or something. It's something. Second Wind.
Chords,
but
I think
yeah. It's got a little wah pedal on too, like a wow wow.
Could be, yes.
Yep. Really adds that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
It's just another great Life on the Road song, talking about staying strong on the road, kind of. Love the little jam section at the end of the track where it breaks down and it gives Eric a little chance to show off his bass groove on that track. Kind of makes me wish they would have kept the track going a little bit, added some more soloing maybe.
Logan,
it's just fun and energetic.
And drive fast with that.
And we get to side 2, which is Long Cold Winter.
Long Cold Winter.
Freezing up.
Because it's a long cold winter, so you're freezing up. There you go.
Yep. We get to the blues-soaked title track. Great lead off to kick off the song, which I think Tom does all the leads in this song. Tom also delivers one of his best vocals in the catalog, I think, on this song. I really like his voice on this one. Love the organ background too in the song, kind of gives a different vibe to it. That solo is just filled with a lot of different pentatonic lines and emotionally filled, leads. You get a nice key change in the middle of the song that rides us out to the rest of the runtime. I said Tom wearing his Jimmy Page love on his sleeve on this one to me. It's a little bit like since I've been loving you kind of deal.
Just thinking that.
It's another great track to me. And then we get the If You Don't Like It, one song in this album co-written with Eric. This track starts off with some nice subdued light lead guitars, pulsing bass and drum groove before it breaks into that great stop-start rhythm of the main riff. Tom's vocals on this track are filled with attitude, especially in the chorus section. Song's pretty self-explanatory. Maybe it's about, music reviewers and who didn't like their music. Or maybe an ex made Tom mad. I don't know. It's one or the two. But another really cool track filled with some interesting songwriting choices, like that pre-chorus section with the backing vocals. Great soul in this tune as well. Kind of sounds like Jeff and Tom might be trading off to me a little bit. Just a great rock and roll song. And we get to Coming Home, which is the last of the singles to appear in the track running order. The band's second song about being home after touring life because Night Songs ended with Back Home Again. It's another greatly written tune that kind of tricks you out. At the start, you might think it's just going to be another slower ballad, which it is a ballad, but the band kind of kicks in for the verses. Kind of reminds me of like some Stones tunes, like Dead Flowers, kind of something like that. Like this one, just a positive message about coming back home after a long time and ready to see whoever is waiting, at home. It's got some great unison guitar lines. Last part of the song has an uplifting feel with that guitar line that ascends. I like that. And it's got some extra percussion work that kind of gives this track another layer to enjoy. And we get the last two songs, which I like these two songs. I don't really think they need to be on this record. They could have been B-side to me. Fire and Ice, it kind of gives me that like Hell on Wheels feel from the first album, which I like it. It's got a really AC/DC type feel to it to me. Heavy hard rock riff. Just kind of feel like it repeats the chorus a little too much though. It's kind of just like Fire and Ice all the time. It's not bad, but yeah, I like the breakdown of this song with that guitar line though. But we get to Take Me Back, which is the return of the cowbell for this band. Tom shows off some more blues slide guitar as he starts to help him out with. Song's kind of a story tune with Tom wanting to get back to the way he thought when he was younger about life and things his parents taught him and stuff like that. Kind of reminiscent of what's that last song on Montrose's first album?
Make It Last.
It's kind of like that. Yeah. Yep. I think in these Cinderella albums, sometimes the track list could have been done a little differently than the way they did. But that's just a small little quibble for me, because I think this is a great record pretty much. And it is my favorite of the Cinderella albums.
Okay.
I feel like they really found their sound, what they wanted to do on this record. And they kind of keep that hard blues edge to their music, but they have like terrific ballad style songs as well, in my opinion. I feel like kind of like how Night Songs, the first side of the album, stronger than side two, but there's some good gems throughout this record. Really warrant you to come back and listen to the album in full from time to time. I gave this a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Oh, so, something I forgot to mention too. Logan talked about B-sides. You get the reissued, not the original Gypsy Road single. You get the reissued Gypsy Road single. The B-side is a live version of Jumpin' Jack Flash, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
I'm looking that up after the show. That's cool. Is there live footage of them like performing it too? And
not that I know of.
No.
I had the cassette single back in the day. That's how I knew about that.
Cinderella Jumpin' Jack Flash. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's available on there's a box set that you can get called the Mercury Years, and it's got a few live tracks on it, and that's one of them. So
nice. All right. Oh, I'm gonna be the bad guy. Oh boy. All right. Well, let's get into it. So yeah, I'm looking at all my notes here. So got a Bad Seamstress Blues / Falling Apart at the Seams. I wrote starts off like in some old 50s blues song. Then before I like the slide guitar. I like the cool slide guitar kicks in, and then it turns into like a good rocking blues song. The part that Tom is singing "It's All Over Now" with the background vocal harmonies sounds a lot like the vocal harmonies that Aerosmith were doing at the time. And then even in the chorus with the background vocals singing "Fallen," that kind of gives me an Aerosmith sound to it. And then, great bluesy solo, fun, high-energy song. I think it's a good way to open an album. The ending is great because you think it's going to end with the slide guitar and that one drum note, but then it continues and drum goes nuts, along with Tom screaming a really super high scream at the end. So to me, it's a really good song to open the album. And then, Gypsy Road, fun music video. It goes along with the high energy of the song. I find it gets repetitive with the chorus. I find the chorus repeats a little bit too much. It still has a fun solo, and Tom sounds great as he always does. But I'm not crazy when bands go back to a chorus after a solo and then just keep repeating it until the song fades out. I would have preferred more verses, but still a good song. And then Don't Know What You Got. I generally don't usually like ballads either, but for whatever reason, I've always loved this song, and I'm not a huge ballad guy. But yeah, to me, this is, I think, how you do it. I almost feel like a little bit like Guns N' Roses might have ripped this off for November Rain, because it kind of has that feel to it with the whole piano and just the bluesiness of it. I can hear.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So I can hear that, but I find this is a better song because it's just due to Tom's vocals. I don't know. I like the aggressive vocals that go along with that. I don't think it's easy to pull off a ballad with aggressive vocals, but and then after the solo, he only repeats the chorus a couple of times, which I don't mind because he even kind of changes the way he sings it at the end. There's a part where he like kind of changes it up a little bit on how he actually sings the line, so I don't mind that. You guys all love Last Mile. To me, it almost sounds like Gypsy Road Part 2, including the repeating the chorus 1,000 times after the solo. Again, with the repetition of the chorus. For whatever reason, that's a blocker for me. I can't get past that. I don't know. But yeah, it's Second Wind, easily my favorite song on the album. It's just a total headbanger, like with Denny Carmassi on it this time. And I even love how it ends with that cool riff. I'm not sure if it's a bass or guitar.
Both, I think. Just chugging
both?
in that sharp.
And it's that going on with Tom's vocals, like kind of a little bit in the background. I thought that was a really cool way to end the song too. Awesome song. Long Cold Winter, I actually really like this blues jam where I guess I don't know if it's both of them playing, if it's Tom and Jeff, but they're whoever's playing guitar is just going nuts. Probably my favorite Cinderella guitar solo. I think Tom screams his heart out on this, shows a ton of emotion in his voice. And it even ends with like a solo that fades out. So yeah, I think it's a great song. And if you don't like it, fun chugging riff throughout. Not crazy about the chorus, but another great guitar solo as always. But again, with the chorus repeating for like another 30 seconds till it fades out. But yeah, I found they did that a lot. The solo would end, just go back to the chorus and fade it out, and they wouldn't repeat verses or anything again, which is kind of
Hey, Sydney, but if you don't like it, Tom doesn't care.
Yeah, there you go. He's the one with the millions.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Coming Home. It's like a mix of an acoustic and electric power ballad where I think he shines vocally. I do love how he sings softly at the beginning and then his signature scream kicks in. I think he's got a beautiful voice when he sings softly. But again, now the chorus, that one, almost 2 minutes after, like 2 minutes of him singing, "I'm on my way, I'm coming home." It gets a bit. It's a well-constructed song, but I feel like more guitar could have been thrown in there to break it up a little with the repetition of the chorus. Fire and Ice sounds like generic AC/DC to me. Nothing special about the song to me. It's well played, but nothing stands out with that. Same with
mid-tempo AC/DC.
Mid-tempo AC/DC. Same with Take Me Back. I find it's very generic AC/DC to me. I mean, it's not overall not a bad album. Like some amazing songs on it, some that are not that great to me. But I mean, like I can see why people would love this, and it's a huge album for a reason.
Sure.
It says I personally preferred the debut over this. I gave the debut a 7. So because I found that fell off at the end, so I'd go 6.5. That's harsh, but I know it's gonna be a long, cold winter for me if Tom finds out. He's gonna come at my house and scream at me. What did you say about me?
Nope. You're gonna make him have another vocal surgery.
Bad. Yeah, you're gonna give him nodes again.
Not terrible. It's above average. Like it's not. I know it's harsh, but yeah.
Hey, it's not a Surveillance 2, so.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. So then we'll. So now we can get into our. Oh, here comes. Now we got Johnny Metal joining us for Dokken.
What's up? What's up, guys?
Oh, there. You sounded like Tom Kiefer there for a second.
I probably could have filled in for him on the gig.
Yeah!
That got canceled when I was supposed to see them on that long cold winter tour. Yeah.
Oh my.
What's up, guys?
Not much. How's it going?
Rocking and rolling.
Nice.
Rocking and rolling. Yeah, I couldn't have joined you guys for this album because I've never listened to it. So aside from the Gypsy Road and Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone. Those are the only two songs I listened to off this album. I've never heard the rest of this album or the rest of their catalog. So there you go.
Well,
But good stuff. I've been watching you guys doing this, so that's good stuff.
all right. Do you want to get into it? You can start with the Under Lock and Key then, and then we'll go back to Tim.
Yeah, we can do some. We can do a little Under Lock and Key. So
All right.
let's see. This one came out November 22nd, 1985. So it came out in the big glut of everybody coming out with a band or with an album at that point. Because I think Crew had their album out. Wasp had a new one. Loudness. Probably 100,000 other bands probably came out with something around 1985. So the third album, obviously by the band. So hang on, I'm getting my notes ready for this. So let's kick off with the first song here.
Music for Dokken?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There you go. Guitar for the practicing musician, folks.
Nice.
Awesome.
What is this one? April 1988.
Wow.
So in this magazine you have Unchained the Night, which I think it has the bass with it too. You get Robin Trower's Two Rolling Stoned, Squeezes Another Nail for My Heart, and then for all the shredders out there, you get Paul Gilbert's in Frenzy.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. Listen to what Danny had to say about Unchained the Night. Great opening song. You know, you have the moody intro, and then you have that wicked guitar line coming in. You get that nice gnarly riff. I think this album has a lot of good riffs in spots. Don's vocals really helps it. George Lynch's solos are just immaculate. You know, George knows when he wants to shred, he can shred. But boy, when he gets that, he knows the right notes to pull out for the feel. And sometimes it's not always the note you expect. But boy, when he does, that's like the pinnacle point of the solo. And I think Unchained the Night kind of has that. So I've always thought that was a great track. The Hunter, to me, very 80s metal sounding staple. Not really a whole lot different than probably most of what was out there at the time. Let's see. Hold on. I gotta get my notes again for this one. Bear with me a second. Gotta find it. Sorry, I wasn't exactly as prepared as I wanted to be. Come on. Hang on. There we go. And then for the next, so then you have In My Dreams.
Nice.
Yes, another Guitar for the Practicing Musician. April 1987. This one has Shy Boy. Let's see, 5150, and Alan Holdsworth, Road Games.
Cool.
So there's an interesting magazine for you. In My Dreams. This is the single rocker. The pretty much the staple single, I guess. This was what a lot of the singles would sound like. I know The Hunter was supposed to be the first single, and it went. Good vocal harmonies. I always liked them. A lot of good stuff. Good Lynch solo. Danny, you already mentioned that. I think that was a good track. Slipping Away, the rocker ballad with the soft side. Yeah, okay. Lightning Strikes Again. Good way to round out side one. I thought you got a good urgent Don vocal there. Again, more Lynch goodness. It's Not Love, maybe the longer rocking single with the bluesy feel. Even though I don't think this actually was a single. It really didn't technically make it as a single, I guess, but it became a pretty good staple for the band. But again, good. Nothing to complain about here. Jaded Heart, the ballad with the maybe a little more rockier feeling. Not bad. Again, kind of typical for this time period. Don't Lie to Me. I when Danny said the Boston stuff, I'm like, yep, I had that in my notes too. There were definitely heard a little bit of Boston in some of that. Again, Lynch saves the song, but to me it was a little filler. bit of a filler song to me. I think most of side 2 kind of felt filler to me. When Will the Sun Rise? This was your nuclear war song that everybody had to sing about. So you had to do something along that line. Again, good vocal harmonies. Till the Living End, I thought this was like a Van Halen 4 on the floor way to end the album, which I thought was
Nice.
I enjoyed this one. I thought it was a good way to close the album. I liked how this did go platinum here in the States. That was encouraging. I think it got with 32, it got 2 in the charts. Stayed on the charts for 67 weeks.
Wow.
Ooh.
That was also impressive. So I happened to catch that in my wiki notes. So so that's I don't know. To me, it was I don't know. It was. I still think I still like Tooth and Nail and Breaking the Chains a little bit more than this one. Although I will say I think I like Back for the Attack a heck of a lot more. But there's a lot of absolute goodness with this album that between Don's just vocals, not necessarily the lyrics, the vocals, and George's playing,
Absolutely.
and just the playing in general.
Yes.
Jeff and Mick were just a solid team.
Yep.
And that's, you got a good album. Is it the best Dokken album?
No.
Like I said, I still say that's Back for the Attack, maybe Breaking the Chains, but it's still a good enough album to get them out there. And I thought the singles worked well. So I would probably only give this maybe a 7.5. Again, just because I felt like a lot of it felt kind of, I still felt a lot of it felt kind of fillery to me, but that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
This album never grabbed my attention in 1985, 1986, aside from the singles. The rest of the album just never hit me. But Back for the Attack, that's when it finally clicked in. So
Okay. Cool. So we'll
there's my review.
And before I completely forgot to do the trivia thing to have the second album next week. It slipped my mind. So I'll try to make it easy. I'll try to make it easy this time because we've already been stopped about Cinderella for a good 10 minutes, so people may forget. So who are the 2 drummers that actually played on Long Cold Winter? Anyone in the chat can say it, and you get to pick the album that we talk about next week after Cinderella.
Fred Corey and
not the actual drummer in the band, but who actually played drums. I mean, this one's easy. You can cheat and look it all. There you go.
There you go. Peter got it.
There you go. There you go. What are you picking, Peter?
Peter Jones.
Quick.
2 great drummers, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Let's see what Peter picks for next week.
He's gonna troll us and pick Taylor
You're gonna
Swift.
pick something with Cozy Powell on drum?
Oh, maybe.
Oh.
Down to Earth.
Great album. Yeah. Absolutely. Love it.
No badgering the
Austin Hollywood guy.
Yep.
No badgering the contestants.
Ooh. Putting it straight, Pat Travers.
Sweet.
What do you pick?
I got that on record.
Picked Putting It Straight, Pat Travers.
Okay.
Nice. Perfect. All right. So we'll get to Pat Travers after Cinderella next week. So yeah, we'll move over to Tim for his thoughts on Under Lock and Key.
Okay, so I just want to say I had the privilege of seeing Cinderella and Dokken at the same time in the year 2000. So I mean, this was well past primes, right? This is well past when all of these. So it's when they started throwing a bunch of bands together from the same era and putting them out there. But this was a fairly big spot. It was a Civic Center in Augusta, Maine. And people are going to snicker, but I'm going to say it right now. I like Poison, and they were the headliner. So I got no problem there. So the bill went in order. Slaughter opened, then Dokken, Cinderella, Poison. One of the most fun shows I've ever been at. I'm not even that big a Slaughter fan, but they were great. Dokken, this is 2000, so this is when Reb Beach was in the band, not George Lynch. So I saw Reb Beach with Dokken, and then in 2018 I saw him with Whitesnake. So I've seen Reb Beach in two bands. Neither of them are winger, unfortunately. I'd love to see winger in concert. Cinderella could have headlined. They were flawless. Smoke on stage. Tom comes out with the Gibson double neck to Night Songs. So good. And what I also remember is that Tom came out, they wheeled a grand piano out on stage. So he plays Don't Know What You Got, gets up, straps a guitar on, plays the solo, ends a note on the solo to Don't Know What You Got, goes right into Nobody's Fool. Those two songs fit together so well. I just wanted to say that. Dokken, Dokken was on the Erase the Slate tour. I actually went and bought that album the day after I saw the show. I hadn't bought it at that point. Not a bad album. They had some clunkers at that time, including the horrific Shadow Life. But they did Erase the Slate and Mad Hatter live, which is like, okay, this is pretty good. Jeff Pilson's another guy I've seen in different bands. I've seen him in Dokken and I've seen him in Foreigner. Great musician. And if people are wondering what Jeff Pilson sounds like vocally, if you listen to Back for the Attack and Night by Night, the line where it goes, "It's now or never, get out of the way," that's Jeff. So
Okay.
that's what he sounds like as a lead vocalist. Perfectly good. Love Dysfunctional, by the way. I went on the contrary and said that was my favorite Dokken album. It's probably not. My favorite Dokken album is probably this. And I've had this cassette for a good long time.
Nice.
This is a weird one for me. This is a Canadian cassette, but it's it's got the song titles on the front and on the back. Usually it's either one or the other. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the way our guys are decked out. You know, I've always thought Dokken were kind of a strange mix because they were too heavy for mainstream hard rock most of the time.
Yeah.
But they weren't heavy enough for the Maiden, Priest, or the thrash crowd. They kind of occupied this interesting middle ground, and it's really surprising to me in a good way that they sold so well. Tooth and Nail, Under Lock and Key, Back for the Attack, all platinum records in the States, all million sellers. Beast from the East, the live album's a gold album, and yet they, in their entire career, they had 3 songs that got into the Billboard Hot 100, the highest of which was Alone Again, which peaked at number 64. So they didn't have anything remotely resembling a hit single. Probably their best known song to the average listener at that time, simply for the fact that it came from a movie, was Dream Warriors. But Under Lock and Key, I think Under Lock and Key is the best. Just my opinion. It's also the first Dokken album I heard all the way through. Unchain the Night starts out very atmospherically with that synthesizer and the clean guitar. And then when it kicks in, it's just, you know. The other thing about Dokken was how good their harmonies were. Jeff Pilson was a great singer, but Mick Brown also sang back up. So you've got 2 singers behind Don. George never sang. So Unchain the Night, great opener. Fantastic opener. I really like The Hunter. That was a nice surprise when I saw them live. They actually did that. I was not expecting to hear that particular song. I think that's a really cool song. In My Dreams, I laughed when Danny talked about how George's guitar sounded like it had been out in the rain. Watch the video for In My Dreams.
Oh, really?
They're literally out in the rain. So that's the only thing I could picture. Harmonies in that song. Oh my good. How many hard rock bands of this era could start off a song a cappella? Not many, because most of them couldn't sing.
Yes.
Or maybe they had a good lead singer, but nobody else in the band could sing. You know, think of Joe Lynn Turner with Rainbow. So whenever you hear the background vocals, it's just him multi-tracked, right? That's why they had to have a couple girls sing background, but I digress. In My Dreams, great pop rock song, little on the heavy side. I think it peaked at 71 on Billboard, or 75, something like that. It did get some play. Video's a little dated, but I love the song. I think it's a really good song. Very, very strange thing about In My Dreams, and this is the perfect place to talk about it. I had a moment in 1991 where I thought I was in a fever dream because And somebody out there may remember this. Nobody ever talks about this, but there was a band, it was a pop band called The Party. And I think they were a TV show that ended up doing an album. I could be wrong. I don't know. But they were like S Club 7 or one of those manufactured pop groups. They covered In My Dreams and had a minor top 40 single with it. I can remember driving my younger sister to her friend's house. She was listening to the radio.
Oh boy.
And I heard this come on, and it's a pop version of In My Dreams. And I'm like, am I hallucinating? What is going on? But then I got thinking about it. I'm like, hey, that makes money for these guys. And they need that money because they always sue each other. So, yeah, that's a neat little fact there. Yeah. Then Slipping Away. Now, Slipping Away does not fit this album.
No.
I think it's a really good ballad. Does not fit this album at all. It's very, very gentle, very mellow. And I think that with this album and Under Lock and Key, I think Don Dokken's vocals hit a peak. I don't think he sounded any better after this. He still sounded okay when I saw him in 2000, but yeah, after that it got really sketchy. Lightning Strikes Again. I mean, well, first of all, if you're talking about old-fashioned hard rock metal, can't beat a good F sharp riff. Jung, 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 jung. Well, that's Lightning Strikes Again. It's a fast one. And Don probably hurt himself at the end of this song. Love it. It's great. It's not love. Yeah, it's interesting. It's got that finger-picked riff. It was a video. There was a video for it. I think this is the one where they're on the back of the flatbed driving. I think that's the one. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I like the song. The whole phone call thing's a little dated. You can't have me. Anyway.
He's gotta have it.
No way. Jaded Heart I really like. Jaded Heart's a heavier ballad, slightly. But I think it fits the album more. Yeah, I really like that one. Don't Lie to Me is interesting. I've never liked, or I've never thought, I've never made the Dokken comparison before with Don't Lie to Me, but I do now. I totally hear it. It's just in a heavier context. But the other thing about this song, it reminds me very much of a Helix song from the same year, because on their Long Way to Heaven album, they have a song called Without You, which is subtitled Jasmine Song. And it's still got that same kind of dun, pff, da, 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 like it very, very close. And kind of in the same position on side 2 of the album, too, by the way. World of Sunrise, this is their Cold War song. This is their nuclear war is going to kill us all song. That's what this one is. It's interesting because it doesn't have a riff so much. It's got a very clean guitar sound in it, but it's not really a ballad. Yeah, I think it's okay. If I had to pick a least favorite on the album, it's probably this one or Slipping Away, but I still like them. And then Till the Living End is just a barn burner. Very similar to what they did with, actually, now that I think about it, they ended first 3 albums all with really heavy songs, fast songs. Paris is Burning, Turn on the Action, and now Till the Living End. And I like the very end of it when it sounds like one of them unplugged their amp and they left it on. Because you hear this buzzing. Produced by Michael Wagner, who produced most of their albums. Good sounding album. And you can get the 8-track, the very rare Record Club 8-track version on Discogs. Probably $2,000 right now, and I wish I was kidding. I'm not. But it's a 10. It's another 10 for me. It's my favorite Dokken album. And yeah, to me, today is 2 10s.
Okay.
Sweet. So over to Logan.
20 altogether today for Tim.
Yep.
All right. I wanted to mention it reached number 32 on the U.S. Billboard 200. And The Hunter and In My Dreams both charted at 25 and 24 on the mainstream rock charts. And I think Tim's right about In My Dreams. It reached like 75 or 74. I didn't write it down on the main Hot 100. Album was certified platinum in April of 1987 in the U.S. And that's the only place it's been certified, which I thought that was kind of odd, but I guess Dokken's more American phenomenon. I'll get into the tunes. Unchained Tonight. What can I say that hasn't been said already? Song starts the album off with a great melodic, dramatic feel with the acoustic guitar work. Has some synths and drums before the main riff of the song. just a great headbanging song. You know, song really shows off the greatness of Dokken's vocal and Lynch's guitar lines, which I always thought that blend, man, that's what made Dokken so good in the '80s.
Yep.
Every line in the verse getting a little responding line from the guitars. Great melodic and memorable chorus here. Very anthemic feel, which a few of the songs on this album have. Love George's solo here, full of his unique style playing with the melodic lines and some of the faster tapping and stuff like that. I also like towards the last minute of the song, I love the songwriting here because they start to combine the sections of the song with the acoustic intro and then the electric riff and the vocal over the top of it. Just a great start to the album. Then we get to The Hunter, which I really like this song. Keeps that mid-tempo rock feel. Another great riff, kind of rooted in blues, kind of. Really like, I think we mentioned here, Mick Brown and Jeff Pilson. I think they're really an underrated rhythm section. Really lay down a tight 4 on the floor groove on this track. Again, like I stated earlier, this track really shows the great interplay between Don and George. Another great chorus. I love the high note George hits in the chorus as well every time. Kind of complements Don's vocals. And I said, I always listen to the albums we review in headphones. So, of course, I got to bring that out here. Different guitar lines, George throws the verses, and his solo comes through, just kind of in between each left and right channel. Like how his solo split into 2 different sections, too. One more melodic and the last more speedy, up the neck kind of stuff. And this one has a solid ending too. It actually just finishes. A lot of the songs on this album just end; they don't fade out, which is cool. I know Sydney's a big fan of that. So when we get to "In My Dreams," which right off the bat we're introduced to some great vocal harmonies, which I'll bring up later. Great chugging riff with a very dramatic Don vocal throughout. Track building and dynamics until that chorus returns from the beginning. Another great Lynch solo here, really showing off some cool tapping skills. I love that section in the middle of the solo. Goes into that descending riff line. I like Don's vocals. Oh yeah, show it off, Donnie.
Got
Don's vocals.
No problem.
I like Don's vocals towards the end, kind of showing off some. Really strong melodic rocker that deserved the attention it got on the chart. Probably could have done a little bit better, I think, but for this style of music, I think it did pretty good.
The only thing I want to say about that,
I think I talked to a couple of you guys.
I was gonna say the only thing about that vocal melodies, I hated to see who had that high note on "In My Dreams." I would have hated
probably Don. No,
probably Don, but whoever had to sing that one, power to him. Anyway, please continue.
All right. We'll get to Slipping Away now, which I think I mentioned to a couple of you guys. I was listening to the album working out, and this kind of is just like an outlier when you're, doing stuff like that. It's like, whoa, where'd this come from? Just kind of a ballad,
Doing those heavier.
Put me in the mood to look away.
If somebody comes from it, hold on. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Well, it's like we have Dokken in the room with us.
Yeah.
He's got to do the high part in my dreams.
John, is that you?
I'll do it the way he does it now.
Oh, ouch. Oh,
Backing track.
Well, with Slipping Away, backing track. Get a bit of a detour on this album with a melodic ballad. I really like this song, though. It's kind of got the balance between light and shade, I think Don had a great voice for this stuff at the time. I put that in small print. Kind of, does the same thing like Cinderella does. They kind of have balanced the hard rockers and the ballads in a good way. But I guess every band around this time was doing that, They were trying to have hits with ballads and, hits with rockers too. There's not really a lot of speedy guitar work in the solo from Lynch on this one, kind of just servicing the song. And I like how it breaks down to just the acoustic and Don, and then it comes through in the chorus again. I think it's a okay change of pace on here. But then you get the lightning strikes again, and that just kills, slipping away 100%. Heaviest song on this album to me, with one other. I'm sure you guys can guess what that other one is. This one most reminds me of the harder edge stuff on Tooth and Nail. Great energy from the band on this track, with each section really hitting on all cylinders. Chorus is very memorable, and Don gets in his higher register for the chorus. I like the light touches of acoustic in the chorus as well. Really rounds the track out nicely. And George's solos in the song are awesome, with those high hanging notes coming on one side of the headphones. It's like it kind of switches, because you get like higher notes, and then he's doing all the speedy work on the left hand side, and then they eventually come together in unison. That's a great headphone song. Mick Brown, I love his drum fill close to the end of the song, and Don screaming lightning like that. Oh man, it's just killer. Some of his best vocal work for sure. And then we get to It's Not Love, which has that nice like staccato, guitar riff. The pre-chorus and the chorus songwriting of this one is just pretty cool to me. Both lines are very memorable and never leave your head to me. Love the gang vocals of the title and the chorus as well. We've all said how great George Lynch is. I said bears repeating excellent solo section in this track that goes into a section I get a kick out of every time I hear it, with that phone. She's got to have it, man. Don's not going to give it to her. Oh man, they left that out of the video though. That's kind of interesting. That would have been funny if they put that in the video. But yeah, it's just a great melodic rocker. Then we get to Jaded Heart here. Get another power ballad type tune in this one, with some nice acoustic work and a nice Don vocal on this tune. Before the drums kick in, kind of gives the song a different feel than the other slower tune from the other side, Slipping Away. Great harmony vocals on the chorus, and Don really shines on the chorus. Some great moments for him on this one. Like the rhythm section on this tune, especially in that break into the solo with, again, Mick Brown's drum fills. I like it. It's not one of my favorites, but it's a very well executed melodic rocker. And then we get to Don't Lie to Me. Get back to rocking a little more on this song with another great, I said breaking the chain style riff, because it's got that chug to it. Really like the pre-chorus section best on this tune, with the guitar lines matching up with Don's vocals nicely. Nice vocal harmonies in the chorus and pre-chorus. I like the vocal delivery in the bridge section before the solo. Don really sounds pissed off in this track too. I don't know who he's singing to, but yeah, and I hear a little bit of electronic drums on this track too. I don't think this is like the only song I hear that kind of like do. You know what I'm talking about. Kind of got that feel to it. Yeah, it's another
okay track. Don't Lie to Me.
Then we get to Will the Sunrise. Yeah, do you hear that, Tim?
What part of the song?
It's in the breakdown. It's the floor tone.
Yeah, the breakdown one. Yeah.
Oh,
the quarter notes.
Probably had a, the hexagonal, around his kit, maybe. Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like every drummer did in the 80s.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to Will the Sunrise. This is probably my favorite melodic Dokken tune. I really like this song. Great feel right off the bat with that classic Don vocal. George using that light and shade that I talked about earlier. Great effect here. Love the harmonies in the chorus. Just feels really full and epic sounding. I'd love to hear like a isolated vocal of this song. I think it'd be really neat. And I think one of my favorite Lynch solos is on this tune too. Really lets loose on this song, which doesn't fit the song, but it makes it unique, I think, in a way. Just shows how good Dokken were at mid-pace rock and melodic stylings is what I wrote down. And then we get to the other heavy one, Till the Living End. One's full throttle pedal to the metal rock with the double bass rhythm throughout. I see Peter Jones said in the chat that it's got that kind of Van Halen shuffle feel, which is true. It's got that melodic side to it too, with the section before the chorus with the full band vocals. Don gives a great vocal on here, and like I said about Jaded Heart, I think Jeff and Mick are the unsung heroes here, really giving it their all. George has a great solo with him showing off pretty much all the styles he has. Great hard rocker to end things off. I love how it ends with that big band ending, and you can hear George. I think it's George unplug his guitar and the buzzing noise. It might be Jeff.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it's both of them.
You're right on that, I believe.
Yeah. I'll wrap it up. I think this is a very solid Dokken album. Really shows the band going for a more commercial edge sound, but I think they keep their heavy integrity throughout, which is important. Giving a great mix of both styles. I gave this album an 8.
Okay.
So I guess
Nice.
I'll throw it over to Sydney now.
All right, perfect.
Here we go.
Don't worry. So yeah, Under the Chain. What a great opening song. Heavy but catchy throughout, the verses, chorus, everything. The song's been stuck in my head all week when going to just re-listen to this. Really, really cool part before the solo where George is just riffing out and Dawn is singing the line Never. And then, yeah, I love that change in the song. And yeah, amazing solo by George Lynch, who, in my opinion, is one of the best guitar players of the 80s, just in general.
Agree.
They do go back to the chorus, but it's not like 50 times, and they actually throw in like some more guitar solo works guitar soloing in between. Doesn't carry very long, and the song ends with Dawn singing. Dawn singing "Gonna Set You Free," which changes it up a lot, so it has a really cool ending to the song too. So it doesn't just get repetitive after. So I love how that song ends. And then yeah, The Hunter, another great catchy song. It's been stuck in my head all week as well. Simple, fun riff throughout, but it's very catchy. I admit to singing the wrong words the entire time because I'm not really a big lyric guy, so I just kind of like sing along to what I'm hearing. And the part where he sings "Desire Burns," for whatever reason, I always heard as the Leviathan. I don't know why, because it has nothing to do with. So every time I hear that, I'm the Leviathan. Like, I don't know why. Desire Burns. So I don't know where I got that from, but it's what I hear when I hear that. It's weird. And then another amazing solo by George. The song ends with something different, with leads underneath and Dawn singing the word again at the end. So yeah, it's really a really good song. And In My Dreams, I love how the song starts with the chorus. I thought that was really cool to start the song with the chorus. And then it goes into the main riff. The background vocals on the song are amazing. It's just as catchy as the first two songs. These first three have been in my head, and I never get sick of them. So it's like a great start to this album so far. Not much to say, but an excellent guitar solo again. Just every song, excellent guitar solo. And again, ends the song differently with Dawn singing over the chorus this time. So I like that. And then, yeah, Slipping Away. It's an okay song. Dawn's voice is amazing, and the solo is great, but it's a bit too much of a... Almost sounds like it could have been like in an 80s romantic comedy movie. At the end credits or something, it kind of has that sound to it for whatever reason. So it kind of not kills the album, it just kind of makes the album lose a little bit of momentum, but it's played well. And yeah, Lightning Strikes Again. This is by far my favorite song on the album, and it's like not even close. Might end up being my favorite Dokken song once I really dig deeper and start to listen to everything. And when I was on Grant Rock Warehouse when we were discussing our favorite songs of '85, I picked this as one, and it may very well be my favorite of the year from that year. So I just love the energy and heaviness to it. George soloing is just face melting on this, and then the screams Dawn does at the very end where he's just screaming lightning. It's just going nuts. So yeah, it's another great song. It's not love. It's pretty repetitive. It doesn't change much at all. It's okay. Not much to say about it. It's not terrible by any means. Just okay. It's an okay song. Jaded Heart. It's a pretty good ballad. It's a decent song. Like, it's actually, it's way better than Slipping Away. Yeah, not much to say, but yeah, it's a pretty decent ballad, but just, yeah, way better than Slipping Away, that's for sure. And then, yeah, Don't Lie to Me. This gets back to the style on this album that I love, with just such a catchy chorus that you can sing along to. Don's voice on this just sounds great as always. The vocal harmonies are back, along with the great guitar soloing. Just fantastic song. And yeah, now that you guys mentioned the Boston thing, now that's all I'll hear when I go back to, yeah, I really hear that Boston thing now that you mention it. Will of Sunrise, another cool song with strong vocal harmonies and just more George Lynch shredding and whammy bar abuse. It's kind of a weird mix of a ballad but a straightforward rock song. It's weird. It's not really a ballad, but it kind of is. It's a weird mix, but it's a great song. So I love that song too. And then yeah, Till the Living End. What a way to close out an album. Like, talk about an album closer. Like, just fast, high energy, just like Lightning Strikes Again, and it just doesn't let up. That's a perfect album closer. Like, can you imagine if they ended the album on Slipping Away? It's like, no.
Oh,
No.
yeah, totally.
I'd be like, what? What are you doing?
Well, you know how I feel about that. You never end your album on a ballad, man.
No. Yeah. So overall, very strong album with only like 2 songs I'm not crazy about, but they're not bad because it's loaded with songs that I love, and even having like just a couple average songs only knocks it down to like a 9.5 for me. Yeah, I'd give it a 9.5. Just amazing album. I can't wait to get into it more. It's a band that I never really dug deep into for just whatever reason. Like, I've always known the song Lightning Strikes Again because I've loved that song, but I need to really get into, and I have the CDs, so there's really no excuse. They're just sitting here. But yeah, really can't wait to like dig into their catalog a lot more, because George Lynch, like, you hear this stuff and it's just phenomenal.
Thanks.
It's something I forgot to
Gary
mention
Joyce for picking this album.
No, I was just gonna say real quick. I forgot to mention Michael Wagner produced, but he co-produced it with Neil Kernon. I forgot about that.
Okay.
Good sounding album.
Oh yeah, it sounds great. Like, it's yeah. 19, yeah.
2 winners
really
in my book.
So yeah. So yeah, anyone want to plug what they're doing? Johnny Metal, what you got going on for your channel?
Well, other
we
than
lost Tim.
Yeah, I think Tim froze up there. Other than my Mortification Monday and album track ranking A to Z, next week's episode will be brought to you by the letter O. So I'll let everybody guess at what what people might think I might pick for that one, but
Overkill.
Well, that's a possibility. I do own an album by them, so that's a possibility. See, the trick is I have to own a CD by them.
I think a
I
band
do actually have the newest one by them. So
the Osmonds.
Huh? Well, no, I don't own any.
Crazy horses.
No, I don't own any.
Ozzy Osbourne. I don't know what else starts with O.
That's possible. You know,
Onslaught.
Or Omen is a great band. I saw SOT's going to do a ranking of their albums, which I'm like, whoa, that's awesome. There's the band Opprobrium, who was once called the Incubus one time before they had to get rid of the Incubus name.
Oh yeah.
Let me think. I'm trying. I know that I could do Mike Oldfield.
There you go.
I guess you can use last names.
I could do a Tubular Bells album, which is my favorite of the two. You know.
Wasp. Cheating, throwing O in there.
No, I'm not gonna. I will. When I get to W, I promise I am not doing Wasp.
It's the Irish Wasp cover band. O''Wasp.
I'm a wild child. Come in at me. That's all I got.
All right. What Tim you got going on your channel?
Well, as always, 3 new episodes every weekend. My Sammy Hagar deep dive is continuing in support of my my Sammy Hagar book. And let's see, we're getting there. We're just about to hit 2008's Cosmic Universal Fashion, which is a weird one. And got some, let's see, what else? Knock on wood, if all goes well, in about 3 weeks, I'm going to be seeing Vandenberg in Portland, Maine, and I'm really looking forward to that because they're one of my, I know it's a different band now, but looking forward to seeing Adrian Vandenberg. I've never seen him live before, so really looking forward to that. So there'll be a road trip video for that, unless we get snowed out, which I knock on wood doesn't happen.
Cool. So yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. I'd like to thank all of our guests, Danny, Johnny Metal, Tim, and as always, Logan. So yeah, we'll be back next week for Heartbreak Station and Pat Travers putting it in the street, right? Or no, sorry, that's Heat in the Street. Oh my God, what was the album?
Great.
Putting it straight.
They're combining album titles.
We're combining albums now. Putting it straight, yeah.
Nice meeting you, Tim. And
Yes,
John.
you too, Danny. Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Danny. Been a pleasure. Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and we'll see you again next week with another Cinderella episode. So take care, everybody, and thanks for watching.